And this was in 2003, 10 years ago. So they started a company and started making games. And I kind of like told them that, okay, you know, like, why don't you start making games, it's easy and all of that. Actually, it wasn't that easy. Took 51 games and then Angry Birds. So, you know, when you look at Angry Birds, yeah, it's kind of like an overnight success story that took a couple of years, 51 games, then the 52nd game was Angry Birds. So I think this is very typical also for like startups and for entrepreneurs that there are very few of these overnight success stories. And I mean, we heard from previous speakers as well that, you know, like you fail, and then, you know, hopefully you succeed. So you just have to believe. And I think that if you're an entrepreneur, if you're doing a startup, you have to be a bit crazy like that, you know, like 51 games and you're still going, and then, you know, 52nd and create Angry Birds. So yeah, not an overnight success story. And I guess that, you know, I got inspired by, you know, like the talk of the American dream. So what we're doing is we're doing the Finnish dream. And it's, you know, slightly bigger, of course, you know, being from Finland. So what we created with Angry Birds out of Helsinki, you know, like middle of nowhere, we built the fastest growing consumer brand ever. So 11th of December 2009, we launched Angry Birds the game. And as I said, our 52nd game. And okay, how did we then get to number one? Okay, being from Finland, this was the country kind of like dominated by Nokia. So to get to number one in Finland, we just told like friends and family that, okay, why don't you go download the game? They did, number one in Finland. I guess they call it word of mouth marketing. It worked. So that's what we did. And then actually after that, we became number one in Sweden. There we actually got a bit lucky because that was the spring of 2010, Winter Olympics in Vancouver. Anja Persson, fairly well-known skier in Sweden, she fell and couldn't participate. Then she got interviewed on Swedish TV and she was saying that, oh, it really sucks. I mean, I have nothing to do, I can only hang out at the hotel, can't participate, but at least there's Angry Birds, number one in Sweden. And so you need a bit of luck. Actually, on the topic of luck, I'm a big believer, somebody mentioned that before, that you have to make your own luck. And I think that, okay, making 51 games, we kind of like did a bit of that. So we learned and we made our own luck. But the way we built Angry Birds, we actually tried to eliminate luck every step of the process. So if you go 8 months back, you know, before we launched the game, we really analyzed the market very, very carefully. We looked at the market, you know, what does it take to create a hit game, or actually any kind of like hit entertainment product. And then really trying to eliminate luck every step of the process. Example of the attention to detail, you know, during the development was that we did more than 30 different versions of the app icon itself. You know, we really tried to focus on every little detail. So you could say that we had like an insane attention to detail in everything. And yeah, we looked at, you know, like what would it look like to have a red icon at the top of the App Store. And okay, now we know that it looked very good, and it looked good for more than 300 days. So we stayed for number one for more than 300 days with the original Angry Birds, and that's 10 times longer than kind of like any of our competitors have been there. So not too shabby. But yeah, anyway, so I said, okay, became number one in Finland, in Sweden, and then Apple noticed what was going on, so they featured us in the UK, number one in the UK in the spring of 2010, and then same thing in the US and more than 100 countries. So that was kind of like the beginning and the start of Angry Birds. At that time, I also started talking about our ambition within the company, but also outside. And I think this is another very, very important thing. So besides, you know, really believing that you'll make it, you know, 51 games, then the 52nd one finally have a huge hit, you also have to have ambition, and ideally massive ambition. And I think this is something that very often startups, especially in Europe. That's what I see in Finland, and I think it's actually all over Europe that our startups are not ambitious enough. And this is something that is very, very important. That, of course we're going to build the biggest thing ever. If we can create Angry Birds in Helsinki, who's going to create the next one here in Lithuania? Raise your hand, come on. You have to believe. I mean, if you're running companies here, there's no reason why you can't. Hey, we could do it. Couple of guys. Of course, it helps that we're from Finland and Finnish people are known for being the best marketeers and branding people on the planet, but I mean, still, when I say this in Finland, everybody laughs because apparently it's not a well-known fact that we are the best marketeers, but I'm working on it.